command authority is maintained without interruption. Today, Rear Admiral John Hickey will relinquish his position as Great Lakes Commander to Rear Admiral Rusty Dash. Already joining me on stage is Master Chief Mullins, Command Master Chief, Great Lakes Coast Guard District. And providing the invocation for today's ceremony is Lieutenant Commander Sean Turpin, United States Navy. Presiding over today's ceremony is Vice Admiral Nate Moore, Commander, Atlantic Area, Commander, Coast Guard Defense Forces East, and Director, Department of Homeland Security Joint Task Force Maritime. Today we would like to welcome several of our special guests, Mr. Mark Nielsen from Senator Ron Johnson's office, Ms. Mary Kate Hastings from Senator John Huston's office, Mr. Breon Pittman from Congresswoman Chantel Brown's office, Mr. Andy Henthorn from Congressman Robert Latta's office, Ms. Katie Berger from Congressman David Joyce's office. Our international partners joining us from across the lake today, we have Mr. Marc-Andre Mounier, Assistant Commissioner, Central and Arctic Region, Canadian Coast Guard. Ms. Nicole Nell, Regional Director, Transport Canada. Mr. Dale Foote, Superintendent Officer in Charge, Border Integrity, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Joining us from the FBI are Mr. Gregory Nelson, Special Agent in Charge. Joining us from U.S. Customs and Border Protection are Mr. John Morris, Chief Patrol Agent, Mr. Eugene Matho, Jr., Area Port Director, Mr. Jason Jalpert, Area Port Director, Mr. James Truax, Deputy Executive Director, AMO, and Mr. William Heskett, Supervisory Mission Support. Joining us from NASA is Mr. Jimmy Kenyon, Director, Glenn Research Center. Joining us from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency is Mr. Jonathan Richardson, Protective Security Advisor. Joining us from Department of Transportation is Mr. Mike McCoshin, Administrator of the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation. Also joining us today are several distinguished retired Coast Guard flag officers. Vice Admiral Fred Midget, Rear Admiral Joanna Noonan, Rear Admiral Michael Parks, Rear Admiral June Ryan, Rear Admiral Pat DeQuatro, Rear Admiral Chris Bartz, and Rear Admiral Michael Day. Joining us from the Coast Guard Auxiliary are Commodore Sonny Thatch, Deputy National Commodore, Atlantic West, Commodore Mark Villeneuve, Great Lakes District Central Region, Commodore Stephen Botsford, Great Lakes District Eastern Region, previous Central Region Commodore Patty Matrowski, and Mr. Kevin Kelly. Thank you to all our distinguished military, government, law enforcement, and industry partners who have joined us today. We are privileged to work alongside each of you. Before we begin the formal ceremony, I'd also like to recognize the families of Rear Admiral Hickey and Rear Admiral Dash who have joined us today. From Rear Admiral Hickey's family, his wife Erin, daughters Elise and Angie, brother Eric, and his mother Suzanne. From Rear Admiral Dash's family, his wife, Commander Danielle Dash, his mother Lynn, and attending online are sons Bryce, Brendan, and Bradley, along with Bradley's wife Tiana. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing through the presentation of colors, the playing of the national anthem, and the reading of the invocation. Great Lakes District, attention. Now, Rear Admiral, United States Coast Guard, arriving. Now, Great Lakes District, arriving. Now, Atlantic Area, arriving. Hand salute. Ready, 2. Color guard, present the colors. Audience, attention to orders, official party, hand salute. Ready, 2.
About face. March. Order. Arms. Color guard. Left. Face. Color guard. March. Left. 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 Left.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Commander Turpin will now offer the invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, thank you for the privilege and honor and opportunity to gather to celebrate the service and leadership of Rear Admiral John Hickey for the past 2 years and 4 months at Coast Guard District Great Lakes. Thank you for the example that he has set both here and for his entire 31 years of dedicated service. So many words come to mind when I think of this great man. Energy, humor, engaging, curiosity, humility, gratitude, wit, trust in subordinate, and so much more. I think especially of his desire to get to know people as individuals, no matter their experience or position on the team. I especially want to thank you for John's devoted and lovely wife of 5 years, Erin, whose unwavering support has enabled him to serve, often in the middle of the night or called away at a moment's notice. I think of his 5 children, Celia, Elise, Lucy, Charlie, and Angie. Thank you for their support. Thank you also for John's mom, Sue Hickey, for her guidance and support through all these years. Be with John and Erin now as they move to DC and take on the responsibilities as Assistant Commandant for C5I. Give them peace, wisdom, and strength in a new job, a new location, and a new season of growth. Now be with this ceremony, with each participant and each honored guest. May all that we do and say this day be pleasing in your sight, O God, for it is in your most holy name that we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Turpin. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated official party on stage, you may uncover. It is my distinct honor to introduce the presiding official for today's change of command, Vice Admiral Nate Moore, Commander Atlantic Area. Please join me in welcoming Vice Admiral Moore.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thanks to your staff. That's an awesome intro. That was the shortest, sweetest, no reading of my favorite color or life history. That was perfect. So thanks for getting me up here quick. Listen, I'm very happy to be here. I'm excited to be here. Always happy to come back to the Great Lakes District. And the weather's beautiful here. I know it's like this every day in Cleveland. So that's what it's been the last 12 hours anyway or so that we've been here. So it's truly an honor to show up here and be able to preside today in front of such a great crowd. I want to personally welcome some of the distinguished guests. It's a little bit hard to do. There are many VIPs here. In particular, I would say there are more VIP retired flag officer types here than any other speech I've ever given, anywhere I ever go to do anything myself. So I know that you're all not here for me. You're here to honor John and Rusty here today, and I think that's fantastic. This is really a high-powered group in the audience here. So I'll simply say to everybody out there, and to all the active and retired members that are in the crowd, welcome, and his family, friends, and supporters of the Great Lakes District, thank you for coming today. I do want to specifically mention, of course, some of the families that are here, in particular for John. Aaron's here, Elise and Angie are here. It's fantastic to see you all. I would tell you that the resiliency, the support, the love that you have all shown John here in the last couple of years has undoubtedly contributed to his success. And you're going to hear about a lot of those accomplishments here this morning. You know, Aaron, I know these past couple of years have been real challenging, and you've had to sacrifice a lot. There's no way we can repay you for that, or for any of our spouses that do that. We can only offer you a heartfelt thank you and our utmost gratitude. So thanks very much, Aaron. I wish you all the best. Yeah, there you go. I certainly wish you all the best as you transition east. I'll see you there in D.C. I know that you've already kind of gone ahead as an advanced team, forward deployed to D.C. in the last couple of weeks. So we look forward to seeing you there. I'm hoping by the time I get to D.C. that John will already have everything sorted out. Everything will be done, all the work will be handled, so I can just roll in and take it away. I think for Rusty, for your family here, Danielle, I see you there, and Rusty's mother and your brother. I want to welcome you all here to the Great Lakes and back to the Atlantic area family. Certainly, this new position is going to be demanding. We're going to ask a lot out of Rusty, and he's going to do it. But he's going to have a lot of fun, and I think for that cast of thousands of retired flag officers here in the crowd, and all of us would probably agree that the best job in the Coast Guard as a flag is a district commander, so he's going to have fun. It's going to be good. I just told him any job that you can wear your ODUs to work at these days is a good job to have, and he's going to do great here. He is absolutely the right person to have at this job, and we're very happy to welcome him here to Cleveland. Now, as the Chief of Staff mentioned during the prologue, today's ceremony is steeped in tradition, and we're going to naval tradition, and we're going to talk about the continuity command. We're going to talk about the transfer of authority between one person and another. And at the core of that ceremony is the reading of the orders and the rendering of salutes, and we're going to do all that here in a few minutes. But it goes beyond that formality. There's more to it than that. This ceremony is a stark reminder of the solemn obligation of accountability for mission success and for the personnel safety of the men and women here. In a few minutes, you're going to hear me give some well-deserved praise and recognition to John, and he deserves it. But I got to tell you, first of all, let me talk about the accomplishments of the over 6,000 active civilian, reserve, and auxiliary members that comprise the Great Lakes District. This is 71 units covering 4 sectors, 2 air stations, 10 cutters, and 45 small boat stations. The Great Lakes District is unique and challenging, and it has a unique environment that covers 8 states, 95,000 square miles of water, 6,700 miles of shoreline, and 15,000 of it is an international border. During Admiral Hickey's tenure here, the district executed over 5,600 responses to distress, saving over 2,200 lives, assisted over 13,000 mariners, and safeguarded $200 million in property in the process. So to put those numbers into context a little bit for you, Our southern districts, the ones that face south or are farther south, they don't have to navigate frozen waterways and the wholesale removal of buoy constellations every year like you do here on the Great Lakes. Most other districts in the Coast Guard anywhere don't manage an entire marine transportation system like the St. Lawrence Seaway here on the Great Lakes. And then I think uniquely, in particular, the Great Lakes here, there are no boundary lines, on the water. There are no territorial waters, no contiguous zones, the high seas or exclusive economic zones. It's a different operating environment, very unique in terms of what we do in the Coast Guard. Now, some might see all those things, those unique properties as something that are obstacles, something that will be difficult to overcome. I would tell you that Admiral Hickey and his team turned those things into opportunities to excel and to thrive. The Great Lakes districts, the cutters and ATON teams here serviced more than 5,500 federal and private aids and within the Great Lakes, and ensured over 1,200 seasonal buoys were pulled before the onset of ice, and then they're returned again without delay to support safe navigation, commercial shipping, and recreational boating. So I can assure you that none of that would have been possible if it wasn't for the partnerships that are forged and strengthened here over these years. To our international, federal, state, tribal, and local industry partners that are here, thank you for your continuing to place your trust in the Coast Guard. It's your teamwork that makes our marine transportation system more efficient, more safe, and more reliable for all who conduct business in the maritime environment. This partnership preserves our nation's maritime sovereignty, helps keep our borders secure, and protects territorial integrity. Now, specifically to the men and women of the Great Lakes District, I would applaud you. I know that Admiral Hickey will do the right thing, he better, and mention them in his remarks, he's going to do it. But I want to challenge all of you here, the representatives of the team that's here today, to make the biggest impact that you can. You all play such a vital role in what we do in our operational success, and I am so thankful for your hard work. Now, there you go. Now, John, specifically for you, I don't have time to go over everything I'd like to. All I have time for at this point is to highlight a few of the incredible accomplishments from your tenure here in command. I don't have time to talk about the stories of your experience as a Swiftie and the things that you've done traipsing around the country and your love of Taylor's catalog. We can talk about that some other time. I don't have time to talk about how much energy you spend looking for rookie cards that you can turn into investments someday and maybe buy new BMWs with them in the future or whatever. I don't have any time to talk about your newfound love of the University of Michigan and sports, which I tremendously treasure as a U of M alumni, so I don't have time to talk about that either. But I do have time to talk about your exceptional and remarkable impact here on the Great Lakes. And I'll tell you, it's always inspiring when you can see a leader that walks the talk, and John has done exactly that. From the moment he took command here, his focus was clear. He was focusing on enhancing operational effectiveness, strengthening our partnerships, and above all, supporting the incredible men and women of the Great Lakes District. He did things like develop and implement the Great Lakes Maritime Strategic Action Plan, which has been put into action and is actually strengthening our port and waterway security and ability to respond here on the Great Lakes District. He's compelled operational improvements through what's called the Force Alignment Initiative. That's one of the ways that we maximize SAR effectiveness. We actually transitioned 13 stations into forward operating locations. Now that may just sound like he moved people around to the different buildings and that was it, but it's actually much more than that. What he really did is save the Coast Guard 70 critical operational billets during a time of historic workforce shortage for us. His leadership was also pivotal in managing several complex and time-sensitive marine casualties. From grounded ships blocking major channels to vessel fires and even some cyber attacks here, John's decisiveness and expertise ensured the swift resolution with no loss of life, minimal environmental damage, and limited disruption to the marine transportation system. And he also worked tirelessly to improve the quality of life for members stationed in this district by maximizing the available housing options through his Housing Action Plan. That resulted in expanded use of Coast Guard leases to provide quality homes for members in many of the remote locations here on the Great Lakes. So John, the way I would sum this all up is that you have gone above and beyond to advance the Great Lakes District and the Coast Guard's strategic priorities. Thank you for your perseverance, your commitment, and your dedication. And I know you're all here to listen to John speak, and he's coming soon, so get ready. But if you would, John, please join me up front so that I can more formally recognize your outstanding performance.
Would our guests please rise? Military members, attention to award. The citation to accompany the award of the Legion of Merit, Gold Star in lieu of a fourth, to Rear Admiral Jonathan P. Hickey, United States Coast Guard. Rear Admiral Hickey is cited for outstanding meritorious service as Commander, Coast Guard Great Lakes District from April 2023 to September 2025. Demonstrating remarkable leadership and strategic vision, he effectively led the Great Lake District's 6,000 personnel and 75 units in executing Coast Guard operations throughout the Great Lakes. His efforts resulted in the rescue of over 1,900 lives, the preservation of $200 million in property, and the delivery of more than 4,000 hours of icebreaking services. Additionally, he oversaw the maintenance of 1,208 navigation, facilitating over $500 billion in maritime commerce and ensuring the security of the Marine Transportation System, the MTS, and U.S. territorial integrity, including the protection of more than 1,500 nautical miles of maritime border. Displaying unparalleled initiative, he developed and promulgated the first ever Great Lakes Maritime Strategy Action Plan, ensuring the district's focus aligned with the service's strategic priorities. Upon assuming command, he took early and decisive action by providing strategic recommendations to the Commandant on force posture to enable operations with appropriate risk management across the Great Lakes while effectively navigating unprecedented personnel shortages. These efforts helped shape the Service-Wide Force Alignment Initiative, deemed critical to optimally allocating resources to meet operational requirements, preserve future readiness, and sustain trust with the American public. Finally, he led the implementation of the Winter Commerce Act, enhancing icebreaking coordination, performance reporting, and MTS safety in alignment with congressional intent. Rear Admiral Hickey's ability, diligence, and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard. Signed, Kevin E. Lunde, Admiral, U.S. Coast Guard, Acting Commandant. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Okay, now a few words for Admiral Dash. Rusty, again, welcome to your family, to the Great Lakes District and back to Atlantic area. You've got big shoes to fill, clearly, but you're no stranger to command, you're no stranger to doing that. You've proven your ability to lead, and you are absolutely the right person for this job. My charge to you is pretty simple, Rusty, and straightforward. Support our members and their families, maintain and sustain safe operations, and continue to uphold our core values in your daily actions. Work with my land area staff to get things done. They are there to support you. To the crew of the Great Lakes District, show Admiral Dash the same loyalty and support that you have shown Admiral Hickey these past couple years. Take care of yourselves and each other, and continue to uphold our core values of honor, respect, and devotion to duty in your everyday actions. Serving our nation is character shaping, and it's an endeavor that's a very purposeful calling. Remain vigilant and hold yourselves accountable to that high standard that our service and our nation expects. Now let me just close by emphasizing that today, the Coast Guard is on a course of exciting and unprecedented change. The future of our service has never looked brighter. Hopefully by now, all of you have seen and heard a little bit about the strategy called Force Design 28. And I'm not going to go through that here, of course, but I will tell you that this transformational work that will come with Force Design gives us the opportunity to seize this historic moment and the opportunity to renew our service and ensure we're ready to meet the demands of the future and to win in the future. And everything that we do in the Coast Guard, it's a tremendously exciting time, and we're just lucky to be part of it here in 2025. Thank you all for your attendance and your support, not just of the Great Lakes District and Atlantic area, but of the U.S. Coast Guard. Semper Paratus, everyone.
Thank you, Vice Admiral Moore. Before we proceed, we do have a special certificate of congressional recognition from Congresswoman Brown, and on her behalf is Mr. Pittman, who, if you wouldn't mind joining us on the stage, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Breon Pittman. I'm with Congresswoman Chantel Brown's office. Here on behalf of her to present Rear Admiral John P. Hickey with a certificate of special congressional recognition. I just want to thank you for your service to the Great Lakes District. And we've been bouncing, catching each other at the change of commands this year, but I appreciate your service, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your oversight and advocacy and for your
Thank you, Mr. Pittman. And before you sit down, Admiral Hickey, it is now my privilege to introduce Rear Admiral Hickey, Commander, Great Lakes District.
I had to thank I had to shake Mark's hand. Every time I shake Mark Cooperman's hand, I feel a little bit stronger, and I need that strength today. Hey, good morning. Oh man, what an exciting day. It's a great Coast Guard day because we get to celebrate this amazing Great Lakes District team, and thank you all for being here to help me do that, right? So all that stuff that Admiral Moore just said I didn't do any of that stuff, like everybody knows. The team did it, right? And so it really is a celebration of the entire team. So first, Vice Admiral Moore, after I just called you a liar, thank you for being here, sir, to preside today. I was kind of hoping you weren't going to show up because then I wouldn't have to give up the district. But alas, I guess this is happening. Thank you, sir, for your leadership and your mentorship, not just the last 2 years as Commander Land Area and Deputy Commander Land Area before that, but really you've been a through line for me in the last 35 years, all the way back to the Academy, second class cadet Nate Moore was the cadre in the make I memorized. But you've been a mentor, a leader, an advocate, a supporter, a friend throughout the 35 years. And the way you lead, sir, you create a safe place where we can come and bring our ideas. They might not be fully formed. Nothing I have is fully formed, so I really appreciate that. And we can talk about it, and you can help shape it. And I really feel like it's conducive to identifying the best solution. So that is a gift that you give everyone, sir, and thank you for that. Thank you, I'm so grateful. All right, so as I'm sitting here on the stage over the last, I don't know, I think Admiral Moore talked for like 40 minutes. It's my day, sir, what I say. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story, right? It's impossible to not reflect upon when this journey for me started at District Great Lakes District, about 2.5 years ago. And I remember I couldn't believe I was getting assigned as a district. I thought the Vice Commandant called the wrong number, and just really excited to take command of the district, but also extremely nervous, if I'm being honest, and Aaron can attest to that. Because if you know me, you know that Coast Guard operations, that's not something I'm steeped in. I really specialized in the support side my whole career, and I think coming in, I hadn't been involved in a Coast Guard operation since 1996, and that is no exaggeration. So, coming into any job, and especially this one, you reach out to your mentors, you look for advice to prepare for yourself for the leadership challenge, and I did that here. And many of those mentors are in the crowd that I reached out to, thank you, including Admiral Moore, who's on stage here. And, you know, there were a few, but one of the recurring themes was, hey, try to quickly identify those priorities, those things that only you as the commander can do, and focus on that and trust the team to be the technical experts and advise on all matters of things, operations and support. And so I really tried to do that. I took it seriously. We had a really awesome week of in-briefs. I got all the PowerPoint presentations, and it quickly became obvious to me that the most important, most critical, pressing issue that we had to get on to absolutely immediately, huge gap, was the design and minting of a new command coin. I mean, like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the old coin. It just was a little smaller than I wanted it to be. So you know, I grabbed my military aide at the time, Lieutenant Justin Jesuit, who immediately recognized the urgency of this situation, and said, hey, you got to get on this right away. So he went home that night and talked to his wife, Maddie, who, thank goodness, had some artistic ability, because Justin and I have none of that. And they began working on the design of the coin. And, you know, I gave some kind of, you know, commander's intent, if you will. Let it reflect the grandeur and majesty of the lakes, you know, but nothing too flashy. I wanted to keep it subtle. And so I think we nailed it. I think I have it in here somewhere. Maybe I don't. Oh, here it is. I took it out already. There it is. So I think we nailed it, right? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's actually really functional. I've had 4-star admirals point out to me that it can double as a belt buckle, right? And then I took my brother and my mom to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame the other day, and we saw the Beastie Boys, and Mike D had a nice medallion. It was about the same size. So really proud of this coin. And, you know, Admiral Moore, thanks for your mentorship, helping us identify the most pressing priorities. You know, followed the intent, right? Nailed it. So here's what I'll say. Most of you, I think, are tracking that the Coast Guard made a decision recently to rename our districts. And we're really excited about this because the prior system was really intuitive. We have 9 districts. They're numbered intermittently and randomly 1 through 17. Makes no sense to anyone under the age of 85, but that remembers the old Navy regions. But so we're excited about this name change here in the Great Lakes, because we've always said, like, oh, we're District 9, which really means we're the Great Lakes District. So we just have to say we're the Great Lakes District. So this is great. It makes sense to our public that we serve. But there's a little bit of sadness involved here. It has rendered my greatest accomplishment completely obsolete and worthless. This thing has 9th District written all over it. So, Admiral Moore, you will be happy to know that following in his soon-to-be predecessor's footsteps, Admiral Dash, in his first act, not even as district commander, before he's taken command, has commissioned the design and minting of a new Great Lakes District coin. Yeah. All right. Applause. So we are excited about this, and I guess I will say it is sad and a little bit tragic, especially when you consider that we have 400 of these babies in inventory to give away. So there's a silver lining here. Do not despair. A couple of things here. One is that we're gonna, you know, if you're here today, you are a supporter, you are a friend, you are a member of Team Great Lakes. And I want to thank you for that. And we're gonna give you, on your way out, Lauren, do the honors. Where's Lauren? We have a treasure chest of worthless, obsolete coins over there. And on your way out, please take a coin as a token of our appreciation. All right, okay. So, what's that? Let's go past the coin. Okay, we're going to go past the coin. I just have some logistics to take care of, sir, and I just want to say that, like, that's not really part of the ceremony, so my clock has not officially started. I've attributed this time to your time at the mic because we didn't get these logistics taken care of. All right, hey, so before I get started, I want to give a huge shout out to the I'm sorry, my public service announcement here, real quick. I really wanted these remarks to be shorter, but they're not going to be. I just can't do it. I'm not good at it. But it is from my heart here. The good news is, and the payback is, we have an open bar at Brick and Barrel Brewery. Yeah, following this, and a wonderful spread prepared by our Special Command Aide, CS1, Ginny Swan, and her team. They've prepared food, so it's going to be great. So you're going to have to endure this to get there. I'm sorry. But let me thank the whole change of command team here, led by Lieutenant Commander Brandon Garofalo. There's nothing this guy can't do, and he makes it look easy. He has had a huge job to do here, and coordinated with an incredible team to get all this stuff done today, and it's made the magic happen, and it's all in addition to everybody's day job. So thank you to the change of command team. Okay, let me start by saying, serving as the Great Lakes District Commander has been the absolute honor of my entire Coast Guard career. Serving alongside this Great Lakes District team, it's an honor that I will treasure and be grateful for the rest of my life. When I assumed command in April 2023, I was new to the Great Lakes. I never had served here, but with the help of Lauren Thomas and his Freshwater University curriculum, it didn't take long to understand and appreciate what a beautiful and vital region this is. When you consider the fact that the Great Lakes contain 20% of the Earth's freshwater, surface water, they provide drinking water to 40 million people, and the lakes are an environmental and recreational treasure that are home to 5.5 million registered boaters. They provide 1,600 nautical miles of national border, and they provide a maritime transportation system that delivers 90% of the steel that is made in the United States, mined in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and shipped down to Burns Harbor and Cleveland, Ohio, right here. And that, combined with the coal, the salt, the grain, and countless other products, combine to create the third largest economy in the world. That is a staggering statistic. It blows me away every time. If you took the 8 U.S. states, the 2 Canadian provinces, the lakes themselves, and called that a country, it would be the third largest GDP in the world, behind the United States itself and Canada and China. It's just remarkable. So when you consider all that, it is abundantly clear that the Great Lakes and everything that happened on the lakes are absolutely essential to our economic prosperity, our national security, and our very way of life as Americans. And the Coast Guard, this team we call Great Lakes District, working alongside our partners, because everything we do is with our partners, is vital to ensuring this critical maritime transportation system operates safely and securely, that our borders are secure, and that we are ready, that we are semper paratus, always ready for any crisis, any day, any moment, whether that be a boater in distress, a marine casualty, an environmental pollution incident, or a national contingency that we have to mobilize for. And this team does it exceptionally well, as covered by Admiral Moore. He talked about some of the statistics. It's a ton of accomplishments. And how it happens? It's by our people. Our people are over 6,000 active duty reserve, civilian, auxiliarists that come together in 71 units that are stationed located across the Great Lakes. And these units are commanded by our major commands. We have 6 major commands in the Great Lakes, 4 sectors and 2 air stations. And these are our regional commands that own so much mission. They manage so much risk. And they lead the lion's share of our people, their well-being. They assure their well-being and their development. And we have them here today. They're all here today. I'm going to try to shorten this. But Sector Northern Great Lakes, led by Captain Jim Bendel, great guy, even though he's a Mets fan, alongside Senior Chief Sorba, also contains VTS St. Mary's River, a treacherous waterway that's so vital to our prosperity and security. Also contains the Sioux Locks. These guys, the whole team up there. It's always sunny in the Sioux, right, Jim? These guys manage such a vital piece of our maritime transportation system, and they've led through so many marine casualties in just an expert way. It's unbelievable what they do every single day, and I'm so proud of them. Sector Lake Michigan, led by Captain Rihanna Macon and Senior Chief Nick Lantier. They've set every single record for search and rescue cases. Before Rihanna Macon took over, after she took over, correct record on that. After she took over, first weekend in the job set the record for most cases and lives saved in a weekend, 103 cases and 47 lives saved in one weekend. Before her, right up until this May, Seth Parker, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him, Captain Seth Parker, and his was the commander of Sector Lake Michigan, and led through an incredibly busy summer last summer, where we had the Republican National Convention, the Democratic National Convention, and just led amazingly through that. And he is best known for, him and his amazing wife Stephanie, for having they're the proudest and most generous owners of the greatest bourbon collection in the Great Lakes. There may be more brown water in Seth's house than surface water in the Great Lakes, but just tremendous leaders, and they forged great partnerships. One that I want to mention with FEMA Region 5. The administrator, Tom Sevac, up until recently, I don't know if Tom's in the crowd, but he's just an incredible partner through and through, all in. Thank you, Tom. And was so critical when we were working through those national special security events, and also got to do a swim call with Tom, one of my best moments in command. We jumped off the Mobile Bay in Southern Lake Michigan, and he even lent me his swimsuit to do it. So talk about an all-in partner there. Okay, Sector Detroit, Captain Rick Armstrong, who's actually my favorite sector commander. I know you're not supposed to say that, but it's really because he's a Yankees fan. Where's Rick? Is Rick out there? Okay, Rick. You're not really my favorite. I was just kidding about that. But I do like that you're a Yankees fan. Rick and his team, Sean McNamara and Brett McCall, these guys are the ambassadors to the Great Lakes. They have the record for the most congressional, international, interagency engagements, and they lead our ship rider program with the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, doing ship rider patrols. That's cross-border law enforcement patrols to make sure that our borders are controlled, secured, and defended. And I know we have Dale Foote from our RCMP here today. Thank you, Dale, for that fantastic partnership through and through. And our last sector, but not least sector, is Sector Eastern Great Lakes, that is commanded by Captain Matt Walter and Senior Chief Martinez. And they have a massive AOR that includes all of Lake Ontario and most of, probably 80% of, Lake Erie. And they do all manner of missions They're one of the busiest sectors with respect to SAR cases, marine casualties, you name it. So these guys, Jim Bendel, I'm sending you a warrant right now. These guys are an upstart. They're coming for you in the marine casualty business. They could unthrone you there as leaders in that regard soon. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention Captain Mark Cooperman, who's now the Chief of Staff up until May of this year. He commanded that sector and did it with just distinction. Just don't get Mark started. I mean, Mark is the Cliff Clavin of the Great Lakes. He knows everything about everything, and just don't get him started on meteorological phenomenon on Lake Erie. He named his dog after it. Okay, and then the last two major commands are our air stations. They cover down on our entire AOR, huge AOR, with just 7 helicopters. They provide rotary wing support to basically every single mission, every type of mission we do on the Great Lakes. We call them out when things get hairy. They're led by Commander Ryan Hahn and Master Chief Hirsch out of Air Station Traverse City, Commander Kyle Russell, Commander Kevin Murphy, who's here today, and Master Chief Jusko out of Air Station Detroit. And these guys have, these teams have managed through just remarkably well through substantial material readiness issues in our helicopter fleet and have delivered time and time again. Just fantastic. Beyond our major commands, we have 10 Coast Guard cutters stationed in the Great Lakes, 2 of which are represented today. They are representing the whole fleet. We have Lieutenant Commander Jeremy Terrell, the CEO of the Nia Bay, and we have Lieutenant J.P. Yalov, who's the CEO of the Morro Bay. And when we talk about aids to navigation, all those 5,000 aids and 1,200 seasonal aids, these are the folks doing the bulk of that work, along with our ANT teams. And when we talk about ice breaking, they're the only game in town working with our Canadian partners, but they do the bulk of all the ice breaking, over 4,000 hours of ice breaking this past year to keep our waterways running and humming. We also have 38 multi-mission stations and ANT teams located throughout the Great Lakes. They roll up under these major commands that I just talked about, and they are represented today by Senior Chief Dave Kukovats. He is the OIC, the officer in charge of Station Cleveland Harbor. They all have their own OICs and COs, but he's here representing them. And Station Cleveland Harbor is one of the busiest stations in the Great Lakes. Every single weekend you see dozens of page outs from them and in the cases they're doing, responding to mariners in distress, saving lives. But also poor Dave, that poor soul, has the distinction of being the unit that has been visited by the district commander more than anybody, because he's just a 5-minute walk down the stretch. Dave, thank you so much for all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your operational commanders. These are the folks doing the Coast Guard missions across the Great Lakes. And as impressive as these operational units are, they just couldn't do what they do without the support from the incredible staff here at the district and our supporting units, our servicing base Cleveland, and our servicing CEU, Civil Engineering Unit, Cleveland. So, from our district prevention staff, led by Captain Kevin Broyles, to our district response staff, led by Captain Seth Parker, and let me back up on the prevention staff, okay? Prevention staff, they're the folks that, Kevin and his team, they're the folks that manage risk in our waterways. They're the folks that harmonize commerce, facilitating commerce, and ensuring maritime safety and security. That is a tough balance. They work with industry, They work with Transport Canada to do that, who's represented by Ms. Nicole Nell, who's the Director of Marine Safety and Security here today. They manage the bridges. We have 120 bridges. They also manage our cutter fleet. I could go on and on. It's just a tremendous and incredible job and an important job what they do every single day. When you look at their district response team led by Captain Seth Parker, they have a whole host of responsibilities that are absolutely critical to what we do every single day, including running our command center that coordinates and communicates all of our operations. It's such a critical role. Our district and our sector command centers are the unsung heroes that get the mission done every single day. They also have the law enforcement branch led by Commander Mike Kavanaugh, our DRAT, Disaster Response and Advisory Team, led by Great Lakes District Master Disaster and Pull-Up Champion, TJ Mangoni. He is the sector commander's best friend in their darkest hour, believe me on that. They also have an intel team that is just top-notch, led by Lieutenant Commander Matt Gann, making sure our operations are driven and targeted by intel so we get the max benefit for the buck on every single thing we do. It's just a huge amount of responsibility that they do every single day. And they work with, I want to call out Captain Bill Wojtra, who's the attaché, the Coast Guard's attaché to Canada, and they work with him. And Bill has really, since he's been here, driven and identified new and better ways to partner with our partners and neighbors to the north to get after all of our missions. Our district planning team, led by Captain Donnelly, they're the folks that do the contingency plans to make sure that we are always ready, separate priorities prepared, and then they do the exercises to practice those plans. He's also the principal author on this Great Lakes action plan, Great Lakes Maritime Strategy Action Plan that Admiral Moore talked about, that has been our North Star, making sure we are focused on the most important priorities beyond the command point. And to our district resources and admin shop, led by Commander Hoon Park. Hoon is just a wonderful human being. He has an exquisite talent for identifying special liberty opportunities. It's amazing. You know, it could be like, hey, it's the first day above 55 degrees, so we should get 2 hours of special liberty? Yeah, so he has earned the name Hoondoggle. Yep, Hoon is the Hoondoggle. And, but beyond that, he is a joy to be around, and he gets things done. I call him the human banana stand because he always has money to do the things I want to do. Whether it's, you know, surfing through the couch cushions to find pennies or shaking down some poor soul at land area for extra cash, he gets it done for our crews in the field. Thank you, and your team, the whole team, Greg Barbio, and everyone on the team, Cubes, and et cetera. To our district external affairs staff, led by, up until recently, and up until his recent retirement, Lauren Thomas, who is a great guy despite being a Red Sox fan. I think he's here in the crowd today. But Lauren left an incredible gap when he left, and we miss him. But I got to give kudos to Lieutenant Phil Gertler, who has stepped up and led the team remarkably, including our talented public affairs specialists that tell our story. They tell our stakeholders, our overseers, and our American public what we do and why it's important, and that's so important to our viability as a service. And our district legal team, led by Commander Brian Tiley, the Killer Bees. This was my really creative moniker for this team, that they're all like they all have names that start with B, so I thought I was pretty clever that day. So the Killer Bees are critical. They advise, they provide expert counsel on all manner of activities that we do in the district, from operational law. Admiral Moore mentioned it was a really unique operating area. It's all internal waters, so they are experts in that area of operational law, but they also help ensure good order and discipline across the district. And while I'm talking about the legal team, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention CGIS as a partner, our Coast Guard Investigative Service led by Josh Packard and CWO Shannon Doherty, who is a base Alameda alumni and a good friend. We get it done with the help of them. And then to Chaplain Sean Turpin, I'm going to talk about the miles we've logged. Sean is trying to challenge me on the most miles driven. He is a Navy officer in a Coast Guard outfit, but we don't hold that against him because he has Coast Guard blue in his DNA. This is his first Coast Guard tour, and he has found a home here in our service because he is always ready. Semper Paratus on a moment's notice to get on the road, to drive wherever it takes. How many miles? 500 miles to the Sioux, where it's always sunny, and 75. But to help somebody, a member, a family member in need. And two, our supporting units, our civil engineering unit, Cleveland, led by Commander Beth Nakagawa, and previously before that, Commander Colleen Szymanski. It's impossible to overstate the impact that they have. They take care of all of our infrastructure, and when you consider that every Coast Guard operation starts and ends in a facility, and every Coastie spends most of their time inside or attached to, alongside a Coast Guard facility, these people are absolutely, what they do is absolutely critical to our operations, our habitability, and our quality of life. And to our servicing base, led by Captain Lexi Sherry, and before that, Captain Melissa Arles, who I believe is here as well today. She just recently retired. Congrats, Melissa. These folks, and CMC Clay Franklin, these folks do so much for our people every single day. Every single day they're doing things to make our missions easier, enable our missions, and make quality of life improvements for our folks. And I got to give a special shout out to Lieutenant Commander Brian Richardson and Lieutenant Brandon Webster, another old base Alameda alum. They lead the medical and the housing teams, and they have leaned into some really hard problems here in our district, and through their efforts have increased access for our members and our family members to health care and affordable housing. And that is really hard, including and especially in our remote regions. And these are intractable or seemingly intractable problems that extend well beyond the Coast Guard fence line. But they would not accept that. They leaned in and they've moved the needle. There's more work to do, but they've moved the needle and our people can feel it. It's important. And then finally, our Coast Guard Exchange, led by Miss Jen and Miss Reba. You know, if you want a snack and a smile, you go to our Coast Guard Exchange. They stood up a mini mart when I first got here, 24 hours. It was a game changer. It's actually, you're not going to believe what I said, it's actually the second largest grossing by revenue exchange in the entire Coast Guard. Little old Cleveland right here. And it's because they do it, they provide such a great service, they're so committed, and it's been a game changer, especially for our folks in the command center that serve 24/7. So, that's your support team. I will say none of our missions get done without our reserve and auxiliaries components of our workforce. We have the best reserve and auxiliaries components across the Coast Guard in this district. And don't take my word for it. I got stats to back that up. The reserve team, led by CMC, Kristen Santini, Captain Ed C., but before Captain C. got here, it was Captain Carolyn Beckman, Derek Zerwinski, Brandon Garofalo. They have dramatically increased our readiness as a reserve force, and for that, they've been awarded the WASHI Award, which is the best large unit, reserve unit in the Coast Guard. So they were nationally recognized as being the best. Our auxiliary team, not to be outdone, 2,000 volunteers. These folks volunteer their blood, sweat, and tears and time to serve alongside us, and They do it remarkably well in all matter of mission and support, whether it's boarding, search and rescue cases, or culinary support, comms watch, chaplain services, legal services, housing services, you name it. The auxiliary is pulling on an oar alongside us. And like I said, best team in the Coast Guard. The Great Lakes District took home the Flotilla of the Year Award and the Auxiliarist of the Year Award. That's across the entire Coast Guard, right here in the Great Lakes District. That is some serious hard work. Kudos to our team. All throughout, we have received great support from the land area team, and as well as our headquarters, many headquarters staff elements represented by Mr. John Stone in the audience today, who's been just essential to our ice-breaking missions here in the Great Lakes. Thanks for that support, John. Hey, and as awesome as our coasties are, as Admiral Moore said, we don't do anything without our partners, our federal, state, local, international, tribal, and industry partners. Everything we do, we're doing alongside them. We're working best when we're working together. And when I think of the word partner, one of the first people that comes to mind is my brother-in-arms, Rear Admiral Marc-Andre Meunier. He is the Assistant Commissioner for the Central Region for the Canadian Coast Guard. It's basically, he has the north half of the lakes. He likes to say we have the southern tropics of the Great Lakes. So he laughs at us when we say we have bad weather. But Marc-Andre, you've been an incredible partner in all manner of things, from our AIDS navigation mission to ice breaking to being a leader in the cooperative VTS movement, which is going to be so important to our efficiency and effectiveness in managing safe and secure shipping in the future. And you are the #1 leader in the hospitality business, in my book. When we go to Canada, you feel welcome and you feel important. And I will always treasure the memories I have of spending time with you, including doing ice-breaking operations on a hovercraft. This is like straight out of Star Wars. Like they turn it on, we're in the parking lot, they turn it on, and you basically go, and we're in the parking lot, and we ride off into the St. Lawrence Seaway, and you break ice doing power slides. It was amazing. Thank you, Marc-Andre, for that, and everything, including the Canadiens games, the historic tour of Quebec City, the poutine. I'll probably never eat poutine again. You fed me with so much poutine, but thank you so much for that partnership, Marc-Andre. There are so many partners in the crowd today. Miss Tracy Riley from the Grand Haven Coast Guard Festival, Coast Guard City, USA, our Coast Guard Foundation, led by Miss Crystal Sable. These folks are so important to our people. They get donations so that they can fund things like recreational activities and facilities, scholarships for our members' kids, summer camps, you name it. Just tremendous support all the way around. FBI Special Agent in Charge, Mr. Greg Nelson, whose partnership has been essential to enabling our access to critical and classified information and spaces so that we can do our mission better. Our Harbor Safety Committees, represented by Mike McElroy today, who's the Chicago Harbor Safety Committee president. And Mike, I think Mike's in the crowd today. You can't really actually see anybody with these lights. National Harbor Safety Award winner, again, just a leader making Southern Lake Michigan safer and secure. I could go on and on. I do want to recognize our congressional and gubernatorial members and staffs represented by so many staffers here today. We couldn't do what we do without your oversight and advocacy. And lastly, our critical partner is our industry team, okay? We are working best when we are working with industry to harmonize our prosperity, our commerce, and our safety and security. And there is no better partner in this endeavor than Lake Carrier Associations, led by Mr. Jim Weekly and Mr. Eric Peace. Jim and Eric, wherever you are in the crowd, thank you for your steadfast collaboration, improving our ice-breaking and ATON missions, and thank you for your advocacy and support, raising the awareness of how important what we do here in the Great Lakes is to our regional and national safety and security. So this is a collective team. The operational units, the staff to support elements, the partners that enable the Coast Guard to do its missions on the Great Lakes. I have no doubt missed some folks. Please forgive me if I have. It's not intentional. But I will say, through it all, there has been a special set of folks, a small group of people on the team, the command and front office team, that I have spent a ton of time with, and I have relied on tremendously to do my job, and I 100% would not have survived without their support. So the first part of that is our special command aid team that was led by Senior Chief Ken Nelson, and now is led by CS1 Ginny Swan, and includes auxiliarists Kevin Kelly and Gina and Mike Packard, just tremendous volunteers there. And they have taken care of Aaron and I throughout the last 2.5 years, taken care of the quarters, and prepared all the food for all the special events. Could not have done that without them. My front office team, the dynamic duo of Miss Nicole LeBlanc and YN2 Malia Tiber. And before Malia got here, it was YN1 now CWO, Mr. Drew Kendall. Drew likes it when I call him Mr. They just keep all the trains running on time every single day. And there is this very special group of folks that, of junior officers that are my military aides, right? This job, this military aid job, is a 24/7 ordeal that requires impossible tasks like keeping me focused and on time. No explanation there. But one of their many duties is planning and executing all of our trips, which in the Great Lakes District, that means we're on the road, we drive everywhere, flights just don't work. And so they also get to double as the driver. And so some of the wonderful things, benefits that come along with this duty as military aid is driving 50,000 miles as we crisscross the Great Lakes AOR over the last 2.5 years, multiple times, countless times, to conduct 146 unit visits. And the team that's always there, it's the aide and the CMC and myself. And so that has been principally Lieutenant Justin Jesuit. He was the aide for 2 years, and CMC Chris Mullins, who has been alongside for over a year now here as the gold badge. And we have logged some serious miles, and we've got some pretty terrifying statistics here, including consuming over 300 pounds of McDonald's. So Justin and I both had a penchant for McDonald's. Chris, sorry about that. We probably took a couple of years off your life. Sorry to Morgan as well on that one. These folks have been forced to accommodate my insatiable appetite for engaging in leisurely activities in an overly competitive way, including darts, pool, foosball, you name it. The list goes on and on. Proudly, though, we attended 16 Major League Baseball games, 2 NHL games, 1 WNBA game, 1 NFL game, 2 first pitches, 1 puck drop, and 1 NFL coin toss, and a magical weekend at Michigan State, getting to see the hockey and the football team. Thank you, Steve and Lisa Jowett, for that. Go green. Go white. Yeah, there you go. And a really poorly timed tour of Lambeau Field in Green Bay that happened to coincide with a tornado that hit Lakewood in our home that Aaron was in at the time with our animals. And she called me and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm on a tour in Lambeau Field." And So that went really well for me. So it's been hard to convince Aaron that I actually work hard for a living, but it has just been so much fun. And I will say, so I want to recognize all the A's. I talked about Justin, who did the job for about 2 years, but I had a lot of folks cover down on this job, including Lieutenant Commander Liz Flint, Lieutenant J.G. Steve Brink, Lieutenant J.G. Jackie Sheedy, and now Lieutenant J.G. Lauren Hatfield. I am telling you, it is no exaggeration to say I simply could not have done this job without every single one of them serving as the aide. So, round of applause for my aides. We're getting closer, sir, I promise. Another amazing group is the Chiefs of Staff. I've had, I will tell you that this is an incredibly challenging role, the Chief of Staff job. They command the staff, they're in charge, they run all the 06s. 06s are surly beasts, right? Like, you gotta stay on top of that group. So that's a full-time job in and of itself. And then the Chief of Staff has to double for the district commander. So anytime I was outside of the district AOR, the Chief of Staff covered down and had the flag and was acting district commander. It's a huge amount of responsibility. And we have actually a lot of past Chief of Staffs in the crowd today. Great Lakes District / D9 Chiefs of Staff, including Vice Admiral Fred Midget, Captain Nick Berlotta, Captain Ben Cooper, and Captain Eric Doucette. And Eric was my first Chief of Staff. He was here when I got here, and he was essential to my transition into the job. And at that time, I was going through a really challenging time in my life, personally, and I just wouldn't have been able to transition without Captain Doucette's generosity, his patience, and his dedication. So I will forever be grateful to Eric on that regard. Captain Brad Kelly served as my Chief of Staff for 2 years. He's one of the most remarkable, wonderful human beings I've ever met, officers and leaders that I've ever served with. I'll be forever in debt to him. And now, of course, Captain Mark Cooperman is serving as the Chief of Staff. He's been in the role for 3 months since he reluctantly relinquished command at Central Eastern Great Lakes. And it's just been tremendous. I can honestly say, Mark, that of all the Chiefs of Staff, I've leaned on them all, but no more greater than you, as I've worked the transition with household goods, learned a new job, and you have risen to every single occasion and performed remarkably well throughout. So thank you for that. And then there is the gold badges, CMC Chris Mullins, before him, CMC Matt Buckman, CMC Kristen Santini, who's been here throughout on the reserve side. They form with me the command of Great Lakes District. There is no decision that I have made, whether it be personnel or mission related, of substance, that I haven't sought counsel and discussed with these Master Chiefs, these seasoned and dedicated Master Chiefs. And I've enjoyed every single minute of serving alongside them, and they will forever be friends in my heart. Okay, there's so many mentors and friends here. I'm going to try to move quickly. There's a lot of past D9 commanders, like no pressure when you're like giving the speech of your life, and there's 4 of your predecessors in the crowd, including Vice Admiral Midget, Admiral Jim Ryan, Admiral Joe Noonan, and Admiral Mike Parks. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your mentorship. And then from John Burleson to Tom Krabs, to Admiral Pat and Sherry DeQuattro, to Steve Blum, to Scott and Marianne Smith, who show up for everything. And Scott was the prior Mackinac CO. To Admiral Joe Servideo, Admiral Mike Day and Christine, his wife, just great friends. Admiral Chris Bartz, my new friends, the leadership class, our leadership Cleveland colleagues, Jimmy Kenyon, Becky McMahon, Joel Parker, and Sarah Gelsomino, and my old friends, Brant and Connie Savander from my FRC days, Derek and Brandon Campbell, also FRC and Alameda Days, and to Scott and Jen and Farrah Peterin, who traveled in from California, I've known for so long. Mr. Mark Morris and Dr. Michael Kennedy, who's just been an awesome friend and colleague in the last year here. And of course, my classmates from the great and infamous class of 1994, Mike Brandhuber. All right, yeah, you got a little close to that. All right, Mike Brandhuber, Tori Cobb, John Detliff, Mark Masanga, Greg McGee, Pat Nelson, Bill and Lori Dinkelman, and of course, Rusty and Danielle Dash, all members of the class of 94. Every one of these people, have had such a significant impact on me in my life. I wouldn't be the person I am without each and every one of you in my life here. And as I round out here, and I close, it's impossible, again, not to reflect upon the beginning when I was starting to take this role, and I think about my family, which is the greatest source of support in my life. I feel like I have so much support in my life, but my family is the greatest source of that support. And 2.5 years ago, I was really excited to come and take the district, but it was also a really sad time in our lives. My dad was dying of terminal cancer, and my mom, his wife of 57 years, was by his side every step of the way. And my brother, Eric, who was my dad's very best friend, was right there by his side and by my mom's side. And it was about a 1.5 year process, of course, and it really intensified right when I was taking command here. And I think about that time, and I would try to get home, but I never got home enough, you know. But if not for them, I wouldn't have been able to continue to serve in the Coast Guard. I would have had to go home, take care of my dad. And so I just want to say, Mom and Eric, I know Dad is here in our hearts. He would love to be here. He is here in our hearts. I feel him. And, you know, you have supported me from the very beginning of this Coast Guard journey, every step of the way. Dropped me off at the Coast Guard Academy on July 9th, 1990, and have been supporting me ever since, but no more than you have in the last 2 years. I love you guys so much. And to my daughters, Elise and Angie, representing the 5 Hickey children here today. That's a huge burden. That's a heavy load, lots of responsibility. I'm so proud of you guys. Elise just graduated in May from University of Wisconsin-Madison with her data analytics degree and several other things. But she's got a job as a data analyst for Procter & Gamble down in Cincinnati. She is on the bounty team. She is a quicker picker-upper. I'm so proud of you, Elise. And Angie, who is a junior in high school, just killing it academically, a 3-sport athlete, but most importantly, a kind soul. And I'm so proud of you, Angie. I look forward to your bright future at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. No, I'm just kidding. And then finally, my wife Erin, she loves this part. She's like, I can't wait till you start talking about me, John. Yeah. Love, I feel like we've been sprinting a marathon, the Boston Marathon, and the last 4 months have been like Heartbreak Hill. We've got 4 sets of PCS orders to 3 different geographic locations in 1 assignment season, which is wicked awesome. You get to make those phone calls to your wife, not just once. You don't get to cry 4 times. But yet, she's still madly in love with me, you know? For that, I am the luckiest guy in the world, Aaron. I would not do this with anyone else, and I love you more than anything. I love you even more than I love Rusty Dash. Rusty. Woo! All right. So Rusty, you're taking command of the Great Lakes District, a field unit. You get to wear ODUs, like Emma Moore said, and you get to work with this awesome team. I'm headed to the Postal Palace, back to headquarters. I feel like I definitely got the raw deal here. Yeah. But hey, I'm so excited for you. You've got this awesome team. You've got a critical mission, and you are absolutely the right leader for this moment. I've known Rusty for 35 years. He was a classmate, a company mate at the academy, and a friend. And there's nobody, if I could handpick somebody to take this district from me, it would be Rusty Dash, because there's nobody that cares about the Coast Guard, its missions, and its people more than Admiral Rusty Dash. Rusty, congratulations. I'm excited for you. Hey, thanks for indulging me on this journey here today. I know it's longer than anybody wanted, but there was important things I wanted to say. Thank you so much. Semper Paratus.
Thank you, Admiral Hickey. Rear Admiral Hickey, if we can ask you to come back to the podium, please.
Oh, no.
Admiral Hickey will now read his orders. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Attention, orders.
All right. From U.S. Coast Guard Personnel Command to Rear Admiral John P. Hickey, subject official orders. Detached upon relief from Commander, Great Lakes Coast Guard District. Proceed and report to Coast Guard Headquarters for assignment as Assistant Commandant for C5I, Program Executive Officer for C5I, and Chief Information Officer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rear Admiral Dash will now read his orders.
From Coast Guard Personnel Service Center to Rear Admiral Russell Dash, subject orders. Depart as Assistant Commandant C5I, proceed and report to Cleveland, Ohio for assignment as Commander, Great Lakes Coast Guard District.
In formal tradition, Rear Admiral Dash will request permission from Vice Admiral Moore to relieve Rear Admiral Hickey as Commander, Great Lakes Coast Guard District, and then both officers will report back when the relief is complete.
Relieved Admiral Hickey as Coast Guard Great Lakes.
All right. This would be a great photo opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Official party on stage, you may uncover. It is now my privilege to introduce the Great Lakes District Commander, Rear Admiral Rusty Dash.
Good morning. Oh, it is afternoon. Look at that. Bet the over whenever there is an under-over for a John Hickey speech. So there is a standing rule amongst Coast Guard senior officers: never go after John Hickey. It is mission impossible. And we got the instructions from Land Area, and they said 45 minutes. That's the cap for, and so what Admiral Hickey thought was 45 minutes for his remarks, not the entire ceremony. Came close to nailing it. But so we were talking about it, and I said, all right, I'm going to try and go 94 seconds. So we'll see how I do. Thank you all for being here today, especially those friends and classmates and mentors and partners that traveled to be here. You honor us with your presence, and it makes an important day so much more special for both John and I. So thank you. I'd like to thank the project officer and the team that worked so hard to make this event special in this beautiful building. They asked me about, hey, sir, what are your thoughts on Change Command? I said it needs to have comfortable seats because John Hickey is going to talk for a long time. So they found this venue, and it's historic, right? It's 94 years old. Close, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. But they just replaced the seats 2 years ago with these comfortable leather seats, so it met the bill. Admiral Hickey already called out the command special aide. CS1 Swan and her team worked through the weekend cooking, so when you go to the reception, please say thank you. The food is going to be absolutely delicious. Okay, to my family, thank you for your love and support. To my amazing wife, Danielle, you are absolutely the best. To Mom and to Dad, I love you. And to my brother Rob, Senior Chief, who traveled to be here today, thanks. And to the rest of the family that's online, thanks for watching. I love you guys. Quick shout out to the Coast Guard's Nerd Herd. They're watching online. That's the group of people in the C5I community. Keep doing what you do to deliver technology solutions for mission success and make the promise of force design come to life. You know, you are delivering the future that the Coast Guard needs to win, and some of them, got to meet Admiral Hickey when he was at headquarters for a couple weeks to just make sure he wasn't going to quit when we test drove it for a couple weeks. But the rest of them really didn't get to meet him, and so I said, we pushed out the link and said, hey, if you want to meet the new boss, just watch his remarks at Change of Command. And so, of course, John, you delivered. To you, my friend and classmate of 35 years, you are such a great leader, an officer, and delightful human being. You know, when we both got our orders, there's funny stories which we won't tell now, but I am also so grateful to be swapping jobs with you. But we both know that I got the way better end of this deal. You have set this district on the right path, perfectly aligned to deliver the outcomes the Commandant has set for the Coast Guard and the priorities and missions emphasized by Admiral Moore as the Commander of Atlantic Area. You have undoubtedly built deep and committed partnerships with all of the important stakeholders, and you've done it with the enthusiasm and energy and style that is so uniquely John Hickey. You're going to need all of that when you get to your next job. Good luck, my friend. We are all counting on you. You know, the relief process is packed with death by PowerPoint. It's really an endurance test of can you get to the end of every day and still remember your name because of all of the information that is passed to you. But during one of those, during one of those meetings last week, Captain Jim Bendel, he's the commander of 2nd Northern Great Lakes, was talking about himself and his team, and he wasn't just talking about Coasties. He was talking about all of the people that work together, and he was explaining the crucial importance of those partners as it related to the complex operations and the extreme risks in his sector. And he paused and he said, Admiral, I am something, but they are everything. And the they he was referring to was the entire team. And you know, that hit so deep for me because it perfectly captured all the essence of the thoughts and details swirling around in my head, and the noise of those details. It crystallized everything, that the teamwork is everything. And you heard that in Admiral Hickey's remarks today and the importance. So to all of you in the Coast Guard and to our partners, I am honored and tremendously excited to be the Great Lakes District Commander. I look forward to working with this phenomenal Great Lakes team that Admiral Hickey described. A great Chief of Staff, outstanding Master Chiefs, all all of the thousands of active duty reserve civilian employees and auxiliarists, and just as importantly, all of our critical federal, state, local, tribal, international, and industry partners as we work together to ensure our border security, to facilitate commerce through a safe and secure maritime transportation system, and to be always ready to answer any crisis. We do this work together for our nation's prosperity and security. To use a phrase that Admiral Hickey unintentionally coined at Grand Haven this summer, we're going to continue to lead from the lakes. I'm eager to do all of this with you and then deliver the results our nation needs. Thank you all, and Semper Paratus. Chief of Staff, take charge.
Aye, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the delivery of the benediction and remain standing for the playing of Semper Paratus and the departure of the official party.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, we have heard and experienced the many challenges and the even greater victories. These are very exciting times. These are also challenging times in our country and in our service. I pray for our people, our country, our future. Thank you now for Rear Admiral Rusty Dash, who comes here from D.C. from being Assistant Commandant at C5I. As he picks up the significant mantle of leadership here in Great Lakes District, give him wisdom and strength in the face of many challenges from within, from without, known and unknown. Give him humility and grace in mentoring, leading, and caring for Coasties and their families. Thank you for Rusty's wife of 30 years, Danielle, herself a Coast Guard officer. Thank you for her years of devotion and sacrifice, along with their 3 adult children, son Bradley, daughter-in-law Tiana, granddaughter Stevie, son Bryce, and son Brenton. As Rusty and Danielle set up home and a new life here in Cleveland, give them grace and wisdom. Thank you, Father, for the opportunity to serve. Thank you for our many partners, families, local, state, national, international, community, and so many other partners and supporters. As we soon go our separate ways, may we depart from this place better than we arrived, because the example of Rear Admiral John Hickey and the other great leaders represented here today, their families and their team, I pray in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen. Official party, please cover. Military members, attention. Now, Atlantic area, departing, hand, salute. Ready, 2. Now, Great Lakes District, departing. Now, Rear Admiral, United States Coast Guard, departing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of the men and women of the Great Lakes Coast Guard District, thank you again for sharing in today's ceremony. You are all invited to the reception that will take place at the Brick and Barrel Brewing starting at 12:30. That was 10 minutes ago.